Fins up, OnlyPhans, but with a PH. You heard? Yo. White orange and teal, the fins look real, you know it's a deal. There's blood, sweat, and tears, all up in his huddle with water to cook up a meal. My coaching in two where the combo was chill, play action to chase, got hunger to feel. The cheetah is loose, he's going for blood, the end of the race only went for the kill. Miami, the city, the county, the block, we steady impact, tail dead in the lot. Defense is strong and hard as a rock, Holland's a lock, and next one's a spot. Getting too hot, so turn up the fan, you look to the crowd, see Jimmy and Bam, Martin, Joe, and Sosa the mans, your fellas, roll the clip, OnlyFans.
Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy So and welcome back to the channel for another week of OnlyFans, a Dolphins post-game show with reaction, analysis, and a whole lot of heart. Now, before we get this party started, we ask that you hit the like button on this video and subscribe to our channel so you get the post notifications when our next video drops. Now, with me today for the post-game recap, you know him, you love him, co-host of the Sports with So show, delusional Dolphin Joel. What's going on, brother? What were your thoughts on the game?
Oh, man, little sloppy. Obviously happy with the victory, but overall, offense was a little underwhelming, and I can't wait to get into all that.
I hear you, brother. I hear you. What about our favorite skeptic, undoubtedly Skylar Thompson's #1 fan still, Martin? How you feeling about the game, brother?
As sloppy as it was, you got to be happy about it. I'm not upset.
A win is a win is a win, and when we're talking about the NFL, wins count no matter how ugly they are. And this was an ugly win for the Dolphins today that we're recapping. We beat the LA Raiders. I was going to say Oakland Raiders, but they're no longer.
Las Vegas Raiders.
Las Vegas Raiders, 20-13 at home, staying undefeated. And let's jump straight into it. From the beginning of the game, right, like my main concern was how were we going to implement our offensive game plan into the game. And I thought that we were going to try to find ways to get creative around, working around the Raiders defensive line, which is probably their best defensive threat. But it took us a while to really get going. I don't know where you guys' starts were on to start the game, but after the Raiders punted, right, they went 3 and out, and the Dolphins got the ball back. We immediately fumble, and I just thought, okay, this is the type of game that the Raiders wanted to see, and we kind of gave it to them.
Yeah, we literally gave it to them. We come out on offense and, just cough up the ball on a third down scramble by Tua. And it's like, that's not how you want to start the game at home against the Raiders.
No. And then, Martin, like for me, that was Tua's third fumble loss this year. It's like, man, you have bad timing, right? Like first drive of the game, playing a defense that really hasn't forced a lot of fumbles, and then boom, on your first drive, you allow them to force a fumble and allow them to recover it.
No, I agree. You don't want to see that, but he was trying to make a play. He got the first down, ended up fumbling. So it's not something you want to see the end result. But he did well what he had in front of him. So yeah, you don't like the turnover. It is his third. You got to protect the ball, but overall, like that was a good move. He saw nothing else was open, took it on his own, and that's the end result. And it sucks, but
yeah, you move on from it. But it's just anytime that Tua tucks and runs the ball, which it always looks in real time like it's happening in slow motion for some reason, and it's just you just never feel good. I just always like kind of get down. That's always what I'm like repeating to myself. I'm like, just get down, get on the ground, and like not lunging forward, just slide. If you're gonna get a penalty, get a penalty. But like, I don't need you to be trying to make the hero play early on in the game like that. End of the game, different story. First game, okay. First drive.
I'm okay with the play. It's just that I think he went about it the wrong way. Instead of sliding, he kind of tried to stay up, you know what I mean, to get the extra yardage. And that's it opened the availability to somebody to get to the ball, right? And it happens, right? But like you said, you rather him have that happen to him while he's trying to make a play other than just scrambling.
Sometimes when you're not a natural scrambler, you don't know where the first down is when you're running. It's a lot different when you're throwing the ball. So I feel like it had to be something like that. Like if you're not normally a runner, like you don't know where the first down is. He probably thought where he was at is where he needed, and he was already past it. So again, it's not a natural play for him. And you can tell his running, the way he runs is not a natural thing.
For sure, but it just set the tone, I think, for the rest of the game for the offense, right? Like it's going to be one of those gritty, grinded out games for the offense, because on the opposite side, we saw a complete different story with the defense, and the storyline really shifted on how elite this defense can be and can look regardless of the opponent. Even with the turnover right there and giving the Raiders excellent field position, we held them to, only a field goal where the defense stepped up, really got did well when it came to tackling and ultimately got O'Connell off the field before he could do any damage. And I think that was the beginning of the story, right? Like the defense was going to be on and popping for the game. The offense was going to be struggling. And even still, when we had that touchdown on the next drive that the Dolphins had, right, there was a penalty on a third down play that the Raiders had that allowed the drive to keep going. If not, it would have stalled down and we would have been a third and out back-to-back drives, or at least with the turnovers, right? And then, boom, Tua and Hill connect for a 38-yard fucking beautiful touchdown that we're going to see here. And that pretty much opened up the game for the running game to develop. And for me, like, obviously having this guy is a cheat code, but we got that touchdown because he was able to open up the space when we were able to run in and get some throws underneath.
Yeah, we gotta give everything that we have to Tyreek Hill, man. I mean, the ability he has to make plays out of nothing. That was just a little simple slant that his speed turned into a touchdown. Perfect throw by Tua. But God, man, I can't imagine what we would look like if we didn't have him, especially on a day like today, where when we look back, that was our biggest play of the game, and it came early on.
Yeah. And even though he connected with Hill a bunch of times throughout the game, right? It ended up with 10 catches for 146 yards and a TD. That one was the biggest one, in my opinion, because without that touchdown, I don't know if we carry the momentum into the rest of the half to say, like, all right, we can really put the Raiders in a defensive position here. What do you think, Martin?
Yeah, honestly, I don't think we got much clicking. If it wasn't for that touchdown, like, what else really? Like, yeah, we had little stints of good momentum on offense, but for the most part, that open up touchdown really kind of changed the game for us. As you see, it was a very sloppy game throughout, and that just gave us the momentum we needed, I guess, to get over the struggle that we were going through. And Hill obviously took advantage of that because it had 4 or 5 people around him, and he literally took the middle and just took it to the house. Right. It's something that it's something you get used to now. Like, you see it, you're not even surprised. You're like, this, yeah, just give him a little wedge. He's gonna take it. It's crazy. It's crazy to see, man.
And it's explosive, because like you guys said, it was really not a crazy route or an elaborate scheme of a play or anything like that.
But it never is. It never
is with that guy. And that's the biggest weapon that we have, right? Like, his unpredictability is our biggest offensive weapon, because once the ball's in his hands, like, look out, nobody knows what he's going to do, because he can turn up and take it to a house like he did on the 38-yard touchdown.
That guy catches the ball for 5 yards and goes back and forth like 5 times and literally opens up and another 10 yards on just going back and forth on you not knowing where he's going. It's crazy.
And he covers about 30 yards right there in that little scramble, right?
Exactly.
But the Raiders were up for it, and you got to credit Aiden O'Connell. This dude was really about showing up for this game, right? Like, he knows that he has a limited opportunity, and he came in here and really showed no fear. He was throwing the ball early, connected with his tight end multiple times, and then boom, connected with Devontae Adams for over the top for a 50-yard bomb. And that was pretty much the only chink in the Dolphins' armor today, where they allowed that big play to go down. And they probably had credit to the Raiders, right? Because they took advantage of the coverage. They had Sean Elliott on Adams instead of where normally Ramsey would have been, or Howard, like we saw for the rest of the game. And they took advantage and connected to make it 10-7. But then, boom, we get the ball back. Tua's in rhythm. Ahmed making the most of his opportunities. And then we get to the what was it, the 4-yard line or the 5-yard line, and we come up on the 4th and 1. And I don't know about you guys, but I really didn't like that play call, and it felt like that 3rd down and 4th down play were bad play calls, in my opinion. What do you guys think?
I was having flashbacks to right before the bye week when we played Kansas City in Germany, dog. It was the same exact play we basically lost the game on.
Yep. Where they had the fumble, where Tyreek had the fumble.
That little out backwards out to Tyreek, that bubble screen out to Tyreek out, in space, where you're dependent on one big block and a bad decision by somebody else. And we didn't get either of those things on that play, and it got blown up. And on top of that, we lost like 5-6 yards. We would have pinned them, like, all right, we would have turned it over, but they would have been on the 1 or 2. Instead, now they have the ball on like the 7-yard line. So it's like we didn't, we really shot ourselves in the foot that play.
Yeah, and that's the thing, why, right? Go ahead, Martin.
No, that's why you sometimes look at Hill and you're like, we use him in such little simple ways that he turns into big plays. So that happens on the bad end too for us, when they're like, oh, this guy could make something out of this, and that was the result of that play. Easy.
Yeah. You know what I would have loved to see? there. I know obviously hindsight, but we've done it before. Is that little fake to him, and then you have somebody running an end screen coming around, and you just hand it off, like say like I don't know Waddle or somebody like that coming around the opposite way. That would have been perfect right there, because bro, they were waiting for us to do that.
But here's what I'll say, right? Like, and this is going to be a theme that we're going to run into more down as the season ends, is that a physical football team would have ran that ball. 4th and 1, we would have ran it straight down the pipe. You know what I mean? Like, get behind our blockers and say, this is what we're going to do. And I would have felt more confident had we lined up in a big eye package with Alec Ingold back there and maybe Ahmed or Mostert and hand that shit off, because there's going to be a point in the playoffs or down towards the end of the season where we're playing Baltimore, we're playing Buffalo, we're playing New York, and we're going to need a 4th and 1 like that in similar fashion. And we're not going to be able to run an elaborate play to get that first. We're going to have to run that ball and get that first at one point. So I was kind of hoping to show that strength today against the Raiders. And when we went away from it, that's what kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. Like, come on, McDaniel, like, show me that you believe in this offensive line that has been playing good this year. Show me that you believe in our running backs that have been playing well this year. Give those guys the opportunity to earn those tough yards, because besides the first down that it would have gotten and we probably would have scored, you probably break the spirit of the Raiders defense, right? And you let them know, like, damn, the Dolphins are going to continue to run the ball all day and there's nothing we can do to stop it. Like, look how they're running it down our throat. And us going away from that just doesn't sit well with me, man. I want us to be a more physical team.
It doesn't sit well with any of us on this show right now, dog. Especially Martin for sure is fuming. And we started the game, we didn't really run the ball in a game, especially where we got Devon Achane back after he was on IR for a while. And we're like, all right, we got the dynamic duo again. Let's start with Raheem Mostert and let's give it to, change of paces, give it to Achane and see what happens. And he ended up getting hurt. We ended up taking him out of the game in the first half. So that ended up being Mostert, and we really didn't run the ball. Like you said on that play right there, why not, try to run it up the gut, try to get the short yardage in that situation off of that instead of losing 5-6 yards on that bubble screen. But I don't know, Marty, what do you think, bro? What was the run like today?
That specific situation was a bad decision in my opinion, but I think it's more said because of the result. But overall, I can't complain about the carries we got today. I think Mostert himself had 20 carries. Ahmed probably had 22, sorry. And Ahmed had probably like 6 or 8, something like that. I don't remember how many. But yeah, so other than that specific situation, I don't think running the ball, I think we tried to show our physicality today. And I think it's something that we've lacked the last couple of weeks. And that's why we've seen these results. And obviously it's a bad team. So you're like, are we doing it because it's a team that's not, as capable as other teams to put up points? But ultimately, yeah, the run game was there. The run game, at least the showing of the run game was there. We weren't as productive, 86 yards or something Mostert had. But overall, I'm happy with it. That result was just horrible.
The result was definitely horrible, right? And obviously we didn't want that to happen on that play, but it did. And the Dolphins defense, again, continues to step up. They really steps up when they need to. Kohu with a big tackle, right, on second down to push him into 3rd and long. And then Chubb affecting O'Connell's thrower on that 3rd down play to force the incompletion. We get the ball back after the punt, and Waddle starts to step up. He starts making big catches. He made like 3 catches on that drive, which were his first 3 catches of the game. And then
that's when Tyreek went out.
That's when Tyreek went out on that previous drive on that play, which was, again, just a weird play, right? And nobody wanted it to. Scary moment. We didn't have to run it, but this play looked perfectly executed and designed, right? Because you see here that Ahmed had a bunch of space, not only to turn, catch it, and run up the field, but the timing of the play, right? The timing of the play was perfect for me, because I'm going to pause it right here. Just boom, look at the hole, right? Where he has everybody pretty much blocked, anybody that can be in his way to the touchdown. And that's when I think that we're at our most effective, when we can run plays like that, where we're putting our backs in space to allow them to create.
Well, they said it was perfect timing for the play call because it was a 0 blitz. Literally, there was nobody there anyway. So it would have been an easy touchdown no matter what.
Yeah, but it was nice to capitalize, dog. I mean, prior to that, I think we had gone to the red zone like 4 times, and we had the touchdown, I think, was outside the red zone. The one to Tyreek, that was outside the red zone. But aside from that, we had the field goal, we had a missed field goal. So, you know, it's nice to capitalize with a touchdown once you get down, especially on a nice drive like that where you're, you know, making those plays, getting into the outside, picking up chunk yardage, 10, 20 yards here and there. It's nice to be able to capitalize with 6 points.
Yeah, and we needed it, right? We needed that momentum to go back up on the Raiders 14-10 and just say, all right, defense, continue to do our job, and the offense is going to figure it out. And lo and behold, the Dolphins defense did do that, right?
All game.
Forced another punt. Dolphins offense gets the ball and immediately get another fumble, which was called. And I want to point something out. Raiders have only forced 2 fumbles all season long. And here in this first half, they forced 2 fumbles and we lose both of them. This time it was Julian Hill, the tight end. He had made a catch turn.
Somebody tell me who that guy is.
Undrafted tight end.
Yeah, he's a rookie tight end. Dog.
Why is that guy in the game?
Because we need tight end help. Smythe is hurt, and we need tight end help. We need tight end help.
Where's Chase Claypool? Well, at least put that bum in that position. He's hurt too?
Oh,
my God,
He didn't even dress.
We're banged up right now, boys.
We are banged up. You know what I mean? Like, look, who else was hurt for us today?
Well, Tyree got hurt. A-Chan got hurt. You know,
no, A-Chan got hurt, didn't come back, but there was somebody else that missed the game. But regardless, you know what I mean? Like, after the Raiders kicked the field goal to make it 14-13, the biggest thing that stood out to me was like, man, we're really beating ourselves here in this first half, you know, with the turnovers, giving the Raiders everything to play for, giving them momentum, giving them belief. And I was just like, man, we got to come out here and really turn it up after the half, because we won the toss, deferred, and decided to get the ball to the second half, like we've been doing all season long, to try to come out and just score points. And again, the offense stalls. It was just another turnover. And this one was a really bad turnover. And I want to get you guys' opinion because it was such an overthrow on the interception. It was like, man, like if you were trying to lead the receiver, you led him in the wrong way. And either that or that play was completely busted. But I want to get your guys' opinion on that INT to start the second half.
No, the protection was there. Yeah, easy. It was a bad throw, but
give me a little bit more than that, boys.
The protection was there, so that was just a bad throw. I don't. Waddle couldn't even keep up to the ball. Like it was literally way overthrown. Like it was like give this guy a chance, and he didn't give it to him at all. But honestly, like you like to see that he liked to spread out the ball, and especially when's the last time you saw a big play from Waddle? So like one of those long plays. So it was good to see that they were able to like try to break it open with him. But yeah, that you did not capitalize on that because he was open. He was easy.
He was open, and it was a bad throw and possibly a bad decision. You know, either by Tua in the moment, you know, which he had a couple of those today, which are questionable throws and got away with them. That one he didn't quite get away with, or was it a questionable decision on McDaniel's part? You know, because you know, why not try to get more of the run game involved on that drive? Instead of just pass. And, you know, that's not the way you want to come out of the half, especially when, you know, you're deferring, you're getting the ball in the second half to start. It's a 1-point game against somebody that you're a 2-score favorite against. You know, we need to make sure we come out with a good drive. That's what's going to happen against those playoff teams. Those teams that, you know, are on our loss column right now that we've lost to, you know, we have to beat them like that. We have to come out of the gate swinging.
Yeah, for sure. But like the biggest onus falls on Tua because he made the throw, he made the read, and he put too much on it. And that's one of the biggest things that I've been kind of, I don't want to say judging him on, but just keeping tabs, right? Like those decisions when you make interceptions, which are going to happen in this game. But I want to write down how many of the bad ones you could have avoided versus the ones that you couldn't do anything about. Because that one in particular, he could have done something about it. And we don't have to necessarily put ourselves in a position to force that throw so early, right? To just try to score. And that's that mental battle that Tua needs to win more often in the game, right? Because like sometimes he gets into his own head and he maybe doesn't feel that he has the protection or that the sack is coming. But he had plenty of time, like Martin pointed out, and he has to make a better throw regardless because he had the time, the space, and the play was open. So like those interceptions, those mental errors are the ones that are really going to kill any, like some of the arguments that Tua is building up, right? Because we're not talking about it right now, but at the end of the season, we're going to have to figure out what we do with this guy contractually, right? Like, are we giving us this franchise tag automatically your 5th-year option? Like, what are we doing? And these things like this can really hurt his value. Even though we bounced back because the defense was able to come back and play great, right? We see the emergence of Wilkins really getting into a rhythm, getting all up in O'Connell's face. We still didn't see Tua do enough to move the ball in the second half, and it wasn't official. We had to settle for a field goal attempt, and Jason Sanders missed a 50-yarder. Now, granted, he's been really bad off of 50 yards, but do you guys think that we have to find a new kicker, or
No,
should we
that
ride
was
the playoffs?
this was perfect for Jason Sanders. He hasn't had to kick field goals all season, basically. So the fact that he was put in a situation with pressure, you want to see it early in the season.
Right.
And I'm okay, whatever. He missed it. He came back and made one later on. So
Yeah,
like you saw he was able to bounce back, and
Yep.
it was like, where's your head at? And that's where that second field goal came in, and he was obviously still locked in. The first one, it wasn't like he was off by a lot.
Right.
But
he had the leg for it. He would have made it.
definitely
No, by a
did.
lot. He probably would have been 60.
Yeah.
It was
So,
crazy.
and it was just barely off. But yeah, you're absolutely right. You know, he bounced back. He was able to make one later on in the game. I'm not concerned with him. I think that him and Tua's job security are not in question right now, honestly. I know Tua's made a couple of sloppy decisions, you know, and had some misfortunes a couple times, but the way the QB position is in the NFL today, the value that he brings, just being able to get the ball where he needs to, it's definitely job security for sure.
For sure. And like the fact that he's one of those the smarter ones in the NFL, right? Because he's one of those guys that gets the ball out the quickest. I think the fastest, 2.5 seconds or 2.3 seconds. They were saying it over and over in the game. It does bode well for him, and it shows how good he can be, including when you compound that with his accuracy. But I just wanted to see him limit those bad turnovers, right? Because then what we do is we rely on the defense, and maybe on the day that the defense doesn't have it, we don't get that opportunity back. Today, the defense had it.
We had
it. And especially one guy, more than the others, right? Because for sure he was my MVP of the game. But this dude right here, Jalen Ramsey, just showing you what it takes to be a top-notch cornerback in the NFL.
I mean, elite.
What a play.
That's that one word to describe him is elite right there, bro. I wish we would have done a little bit better job getting to the quarterback today. You know, you talked about it already. He was Aiden O'Connell was, you know, he did very well in the pocket, standing in the pocket and getting the ball out quick enough where we didn't really have a chance. I think we ended the game with 3 sacks. I know Jalen Phillips had 1.5. Sealer cleaned it up with him, and I think there's somebody else might have had one more. But
I think they gave it to Chubb.
No, Chubb did not get one. Unfortunately, I would know. Trust me.
They only credited us with 2
leg
sacks.
on a Dolphins parlay, and it was Chubb that didn't get a sack, bro. I was so bad. He had so many opportunities, but he didn't get one. I wish we would have got to the quarterback a little bit more, but Jalen Ramsey, man, I mean, making a play right when we need it. We just missed a field goal. There might be a little shift in momentum, you think, if you're, you know, on the Raiders sideline, and then all of a sudden here comes number 5, just jumping the route and taking the ball away. Let's go.
Primetime plays make primetime plays, huh? Omar.
Yeah, honestly, I'm happy that it was a sloppy game by the offense this week, because you got to see the defense like hold their own. You saw them put in so many bad situations, and they were like, nope, don't worry, we got this. Like, that's what you want to see, especially like everybody's coming back from injury on the defense, so you want to see them gel together. So obviously the Raiders offense is nothing you're scared about, but to see them play as well as they did today, you want to see that just continue going on into the season. So I'm okay with the sloppy play from the offense this week.
Yeah.
Will it happen like this? Will it happen like this every week, that we're like, all right, our defense is going to be good enough to keep the offense out of the end zone every time? No, but it was good to see.
No, because what you're asking is a lot of the defense, right? If you want them to make a stop every single time. And I felt like the Dolphins defense really answered the bell every time we needed something for them to respond to, right? Oh, they scored. Fuck it. Next series, come out here and respond. Get a 3 and out. Get an interception. Get a sack. Get something, you know. And the Dolphins defense did that today, undoubtedly. And some of the offense kind of fed off the defense. But what we didn't see, something that Joel pointed out in our chat, was we needed to capitalize whenever we got those big stops or those turnovers, and we didn't. And on this one particularly, we were in great position, and then we go 3 straight plays, no type of yards gained, and boom, we had to settle for another field goal, which Sanders made. It was a 41-yarder. He was which made the score 17-13 there. And then again, we're saying, hey, defense, go out there and give us chances. Go out there and give us chances. Jalen Ramsey covering Devontae Adams, stride for stride, the entire field on a 3rd down play where O'Connell, credit to him, took the shot and he pretty much gave him a 50-50 ball. But Ramsey was there showing why the defense is great. Tua gets the ball back, connects with Tyreek Hill, goes over 300 yards for the game. And then as soon as we get into that Raiders territory around the 40-something yard line, boom, we stall again. And it's like, well, shit, now we have to rely on Jason Sanders to kick another
50.
and it made a 51-yarder or a 53-yarder, which was his first of the season, which put us ahead 20-13. And then right after that, like we saw the defense just really turn it up a notch. And Martin, I want to give you the ability to talk on these two guys specifically because you've been such a proponent on this defensive line. Talk to me about Nick Chubb and Jalen Phillips and what they did today and how they were able to cause havoc on this D line.
Honestly, like Joel said, the sacks weren't there, but you just saw Aiden O'Connell. The first half looked like he had a lot of poise. He had protection, but the second half was just a different game. He was able to do. They were able to put a lot of pressure on him. I don't think I could even just say Phillips and Chubb. That whole D line is just playing out of its mind. I can't complain. I don't think I've seen a comfortable quarterback in the last 3 weeks in the second half. Patrick Mahomes before the bye did not look comfortable in the second half. They played great, and that was Ramsey's second game, and we're just looking a lot better overall. And this week was no different. It really wasn't.
Joel, what do you think on the defense performance today? Because we had talked about Fangio's defense take some time to kind of build up and get to that level. We're kind of seeing that it's at that level right now.
They're the highlight, man. They're holding it down, and the story, excuse me, the storyline all season has been the high-powered offense that is, Tua, Tyreek, Waddle, Mostert, and company. But the tide is turning, and it's really becoming, what's going to make this team a playoff winning team, not just making the playoffs, but winning in the playoffs is the defense, is being able to hold it down. Now, we need to be able to complement it with that high-scoring offense that we really didn't get today. But defensively, we got to love what we saw. Got to love everything we saw defensively.
One thing that I will say, right, to kind of give the Dolphins offense a break, and since we're beating them up kind of bad today, right, like, I will say this. Sometimes scoring 20 points is enough to win a playoff game, right? Because not every playoff game is going to be 45-21, 45-35. It may not be like that. You may have to grind the game out. And that's what we had today. We saw the defense and offense grind this game out. Special teams was big. We didn't have Braxton Berrios. That's the other guy that I knew that was out. So we had Cedric Wilson back there returning punts, which he did a great job, gave us some good field position, and he made some big catches throughout the day as well, right? Really making some catches that were tough. And it just takes those type of efforts, right, where you're getting a little bit of everything from everybody. Shit, even Alex Ingold had another carry today where he had a real good job, made another catch where he turned and got a first down, had 2 good blocks where he sprang Mostert. So, like, those are the little things that we got to grind out in games to win when we're not playing as pretty as on offense, because this game wasn't pretty on offense. As soon as we got that ball back from the Raiders going 3 and out, like, we stalled ourselves, couldn't move anywhere.
You guys remember seeing Tua miss the wide open touchdown that we had?
Yep. And those are part of it. Mentally.
That's another week where we missed that.
I have this guy, and something happens in my process of making the throw that I can't make it. And those are the things that I'm like, yo, those are the ones you got to hit, my boy, because they don't come off that often. Like, you got to get those shits whenever they come. You got to get them shits whenever they come. And even still, we had a bad punt because we, this dude only put it within the 50, right? After we went 3 and out, and the Raiders were driving again, getting into position. We stopped them on 3rd and 2 to force 4th and 2. And again, the defensive line creating havoc back there on O'Connell. Chubb gets to him, Phillip gets to him, and we get an interception where Chubb is bringing him down, forces O'Connell to throw the ball, and it lands right in Phillip's hands, man. Oh, but before that, this is the one that I want to show you. This is the one that ends the game. This is the one that got Jalen Ramsey the MVP of the game. As you see here, this dude, O'Connell, trying to make a throw, and credit to him, he put some air on it, but he didn't know that Air Ramsey was back there trying to make an amazing catch, because that boy got off the ground. Just look right here. Just look, boom, he's off the ground before anybody else gets to it. And by the time he makes the catch, he's still the guy getting to the ball at the highest point. This defense wouldn't be nowhere near as good or as good as it can be without Ramsey. And now that he's fully healthy and we see what he brings to the table, I don't see why this defense can't be one of those top 5 defenses to close out the season.
Yeah, it's one of those defenses right now, if healthy, you don't want to see. No offense wants to, and we don't play a lot of good ones until the end of the season. So, whoever else we play right now, any of these pick-me-up games, you're a quarterback. You're not happy looking at film. I'll tell you that much.
No, because even the last couple of drives for the Dolphins, they weren't pretty on offense, and we just kept giving the ball back to the Raiders, giving them opportunities instead of killing the drive. And it wasn't until we got into victory formation after that interception that I mentioned by Jalen Phillips that we were able to pretty much relax and know that the game was over. And even though Ramsey had that incredible play in the end zone, lost the air when he made the catch, he got up, was okay. Tua with a great stat line, right? 325, 2 touchdowns, and an INT. We talked about Hill, 10 catches, 142, 146. It still wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. Excuse me. It wasn't enough. And
it wasn't enough because we didn't capitalize in the red zone. That's why it wasn't enough. Yeah, we stalled a lot in nearing the red zone or in the red zone. We didn't.
But more importantly, Mark, for me, it's the playoffs, right? Because you and Joel know this is playoffs or bust, right? We're already on pretty much guaranteed the playoffs, the way that the Bills have been playing, the way the Jets have been playing, and what's going on in the AFC around us. As we continue to keep this pace, we're going to have to find ways to win different games, different styles. And I don't know, man, today kind of worried me a little bit towards the end of the game. I knew we were going to win the game, but it was a matter of like how much and in what fashion. But I just want to feel a little bit more confident, right, in the offense to say when the defense is playing well, let's mirror that and have both sides of the ball playing well.
Yeah, and honestly, it's gonna be whoever's the if we're a physical team come playoffs, then yeah. Right now, I think we saw some of that grittiness today, and that's why although it was a sloppy win, I was okay with the way we did win, and we showed a little different type of scheme or a different type of play. So if we continue that throughout the stretch, I think we'll be good going to the playoffs. But if we get away from this and we try to get fancy with Hill the rest of the way, and that's all we're gonna be, then I don't think. The playoffs, yeah, it's great, but it'll be a one and done. We're not a physical team come playoff time.
What do you think, Joel? We're trying to get too fancy, or do we need to get back to basics on offense here?
Offensively, I think we got to keep doing what we're doing, but we got to keep adapting and rolling with it. And I don't know what's going on in our running back room right now. I know Mostert's healthy, but Achane got hurt today. I heard that after the fact that they took him out as a precautionary thing. He's going to be fine. But Ahmed ended up going down. So he got hurt in this game. And Jeff Wilson, I didn't see. He came back from IR recently. I don't know what's going on there.
I think he was a scratch.
Yeah, all right. Well, we need to get more involvement from the run game. I think, man, we need to. We've been talking about it on this show a lot. And even though Raheem Mostert got 20 carries, 20 plus carries, I know a lot of that was in the end of the game when it was kind of, we were trying to run the clock and get, just kind of put the game away. And even to that, we had a chance to take it under the 2-minute warning and really put the game away, and we couldn't come up with that first down on that drive, and ended up giving the ball back to the Raiders. They didn't do anything with it, led to that interception. But again, talk about playoffs and playing playoff teams. Josh Allen, Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. Any of these guys that we play, man. I don't want to be in that situation where they have 2 minutes left and they're driving. So.
No, and more importantly, where you have to rely on having to score instead of just scoring whenever those points become available to you. Because with those turnovers, those are points being made available to you, and we have to go out there and capitalize, like you guys said. Moving forward, we know that at some point we're going to have to see consecutive performances in games from both the offense and the defense, where both sides of the ball are playing well. It may not be for the rest of the 7 games that we have remaining, because that's really hard to do. But there's going to have to be at least 2 of these next 6-7 games where, like I said, the offense and the defense both play well in the game and we win the game. Whether it's a close game or not, doesn't matter. But we need to see both sides of the ball playing well a lot sooner than later, because this is getting to be crunch time, boys. We got the New York Jets next week, prime time, Black Friday game, 3 p.m. Like,
2 defensive touchdowns this week. Just saying, 2 defensive touchdowns this week. It's going to happen.
For the Dolphins or for the Jets?
For the Dolphins.
I'm making sure, dog. I know you're wearing that shirt, but sometimes I question where your loyalties lie. How did your boys do today, by the way, dog? How did the Chargers do today?
Trash.
They didn't win.
Okay.
Trash.
Keep rooting for those guys, bro.
Trash, dog. But yeah, the Dolphins are rolling. We're happy to continue to win. What's the record now? 7-3 on the season.
7-3.
And like I said, next week game against the Jets is obviously a big game. It's going to be our first divisional matchup since we lost to the Buffalo Bills back in week 4.
Versus a great defense. Defense.
Oh, I'm sorry, against New England when we beat them. That was the last divisional matchup that we had. But
Correct.
We know that the Jets defense is really, really good, and they're really keeping them in games, i.e., like they were against Buffalo today, and even last week when they were getting out there and doing their thing. I want to see us go out there and play clean football. I want to get your guys' thoughts on what's the key to this next game against the Jets. Martin, we'll start with you.
I don't think we could be fancy versus the Jets. I think we gotta get gritty with them. We need to run the ball on them and open up the pass game. If we're gonna go out just to pass and throw 40 times, it's not gonna be a pretty game. If it's a run balance game, I think we'll easily beat them. Their defense is really good, and if we allow to put pressure on us, it's gonna be a game we're not gonna be happy to see on Black Friday. A lot of upset stomachs is what I see.
A lot of tons. What about you, Joel? What are your thoughts on this game coming up?
Defensively, we'll be able to contain them. Their offense, they got no offense. They got no rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
They can get lucky every now and again. Obviously anybody can catch lightning in a bottle, but I have confidence our defense can withstand them. It's just a matter of, they have a really good defense. They got really good DBs. I don't know about today, but prior to today's game that they're playing, they haven't allowed a passing touchdown since week 1. So, we rely heavily on the pass. Tua had over 35, nearly 40 attempts today. And, they have a pretty good secondary. They also have a pretty good D-line as well, and good linebackers. All around, their defense is great, man. They have a great defense. So it's going to be a real good test for us, especially a division game. We're on the road, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
So division game on the road, hostile environment, kind of, wouldn't say playoff atmosphere, but, might have some of that feel at this point, this late in the season. So we definitely got to get a win. I'm projecting a win. It's just a matter of what this offense is going to do against a pretty good Jets defense.
I agree.
Good.
I think
really good.
I think we're all in agreement, right? That in agreement that the Dolphins are probably more than likely going to win this game. But for me, the biggest thing to look out for is the turnovers, man. Tua has to play clean football. We can't give this Jets defense any chance for a turnover because they obviously feed off of that. And once they get one or a big sack, then they continue to blitz and try to get more interceptions. So we need to make sure that we're not giving them opportunities to hurt us in any way, form, or fashion. So we got to be extra careful with the ball against the New York Jets next Friday up in New York. Well, it's time to get out of here, boys, so we can enjoy some Sunday Night Football. Martin, Joel, I appreciate you guys joining us as always on OnlyFans. And we appreciate you guys, the viewers. Keep subscribing. We appreciate that. Make sure to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend about OnlyFans because we're going to keep bringing you this every single week. And oh yeah, we got that OnlyFans merch dropping soon. It's your boy So. Peace.